what makes this home shop special is that it is a new construction home workshop. So today what you're going to be learning is the difference between, first of all, owning and renting. So understanding the advantages that you have becoming a homeowner. And the second thing that you're going to learn is why is it so powerful to own a new home versus a resale home. So kind of to get everything kicked off, I want to give you an introduction of our team. Of course, a lot of you all know me. I'm Keith Walker, the IG Realtor. This is my business partner, my mentor, who kind of got me into real estate. We're both teachers, left teaching and retired ourselves from that industry, and now we both do real estate full time. So this is my mentor, Mike Maynard, Shabazz. His beautiful wife.
He's my mentor.
Other business partner, Jeff Jewell, and of course my wife that's always in the background doing things, Michelle.
His business partner.
Another one of our business partners that is very instrumental to our business whenever we sell a new home is Jeremy Ross. Jeremy is representative for Lennar. He's a sales agent. That's basically the person that we talk to make sure we get the deal that you need to be able to close on the house. So want to bring Jeremy up. He's going to give you guys the skinny on some of the things that Lennar has to offer, kind of give you an overview. And welcome Jeremy Ross.
Thank y'all for coming. I met a few of you, and I know this young lady in the back. We had met at Lennar with Keith before, but just to give you a little plan for the day, we do have a $250 value gift basket that some lucky person will walk away with today, which is nice. And they're going to serve lunch in about 45 minutes. They got a small lunch set up for you, so we'll take a little break after that. I just wanted to introduce myself and tell you about Lennar. Lennar, we're most competitive with like used homes. We kind of dominate the new home market with over 3,000 families built per year in the Tampa area. We stretch 17 communities plus, starting from our most north community is, or close to Tampa, is off 78th Street. I don't know if any of you have seen Touchstone maybe. Yeah, so and that's actually our hottest selling community. That's one of the only communities we're selling homes at like 6-7 months out, because we can't keep them in stock. And it's a very high price point, but some people rather have a location. Some people rather come out like this area where you can commute to Tampa and get there in approximately 30 to 40 minutes. This has been a very hot community, opened up about 7 months ago, and I think we have over 70 homeowners in this specific community, and we started out in the 180s. We also have a new town community up the street that, some people kind of come out and they only want to look at new homes. The townhomes is a great starter home if you have an own home, or even as a home just as an easy type of living. We take care, in the townhomes, like our towns include cable, water, sewer, all exterior maintenance, landscaping, things of that nature. You can get in one of those townhomes for anywhere from $1,400 to $1,600 a month, and all you're paying on top of that is electric. So for some folks, those townhomes up the street actually have granite and stainless steel. Some of our entry-level homes may not have everything that the buyer's looking for, but it's a brand new home with a full warranty. And we pay up to $12,000 to $14,000 at certain times of the year in closing costs, where you can just, that's going to be money that you save out of your pocket. So we try to really strive to make the process easy. When you see a home, that's kind of the way the home comes. So it's been very successful for Lennar. They've been the number one, they've actually become the number one builder in the world, and been number one in Florida for 40 plus years. Do any of you know people that own Lennar homes? And you've probably seen Lennar homes. They're like on every corner. Does anybody have any questions? What we do with the closing costs just kind of saves you money. The process, typically we have homes ready for 30, 60, 90 days out. So we're building homes as we sell them, and then we'll release more. So it's a good process that we can meet your time needs. If you're coming out of a lease, or maybe staying with family, or saving money, or things of that nature. But once again, thanks for coming. This is our newest facility in Cypress Mill. Just opened up the clubhouse a little over 2 months ago, and it's been a big hit and a big selling point. People, some people, you have to travel home, and then if you have children or family that comes in town, it helps you save a lot of money when you have activities right here in the community that you can really enjoy. But I don't want to take up a whole bunch of time. I just want to let you know we have a lot of communities, and like Keith mentioned, they're a great team. They've brought a lot of business to Lennar, and they've sold a lot of other homes. But at the end of the day, we just work together because we try to communicate and make the process easiest for the buyer, with ideally a stress-free process. Because it can be stressful trying to buy a home, you know. Obviously, you know, there's going to be a lot of questions. Does anybody have any questions before I turn the podium back over to these folks? You do, yes, ma'am.
Is there a warranty on your appliances?
Yes, ma'am. So the warranty on appliances will be just like if you bought them at the store, it'll be a 1 year. And that's a great question because I didn't touch base on the full warranty. So the warranty is like a 1 year, basically everything but the cosmetics. So the great thing is, say you bought a new home. You're gonna see like a model or a finished home that's gonna look just like yours. And then 7 days before you close, it's a lot different than buying like a used home or a home somebody lives in, where you might have to go through an inspection process and things like that. With our home, you're gonna get 7 days prior to closing. You're gonna come in, walk through the home. If we might have missed a paint touch-up, or maybe there was a small crack in the tile, those are things we're going to address and get everything in tip-top condition as far as the cosmetics, and then you're going to come back and do another walk. And that way you make sure everything's good. But the appliances are covered for 1 year, 2 years on the plumbing and electric, and 10 years on the structure. Now on top of that, the energy bills are much less than even a home that was built 5 years ago, the same size. We're seeing energy savings of 30 to 40%. So what that means to you is, say you had an electric bill. I don't know. When I first moved to Florida, I owned a home that was built in 1998, I believe, and it was 1,700 square feet. And there were times in a month that my electric bill in these hot months was $250 or $230, somewhere in that range. You know, they can be really high. We're seeing Lenore homes the same size, you know, max bill $100, $120 a month with the same electricity use. So those are things that you have to consider. And then the tax benefits, and I'm sure Team Bless will talk more about it, but there are tax benefits. So for example, when you buy a home, you may, you know, some of you may pay in taxes, and in that case, you should be paying in less. And if you're receiving taxes back, in most cases, you're gonna receive a good bit more back because of the interest and the taxes that you're already paying on the home. Plus, you can build equity. So instead of just paying the rental guy who may raise his rent or may want to sell the property, you can be able to establish your own place, decorate the house, plant your plants, whatever you want to do. And also, ideally, in 5, 10 years, if you move, you know, hopefully have, you know, anywhere from $10,000 to $40,000, $50,000. Who knows how much equity you may have when you sell. So that'll go towards your next home, or you can rent it out and just build your, you know, financial freedom that way. Does that answer your question on the warranty?
And so it's a 1 year warranty on appliances?
Yes, ma'am.
2 years on air conditioning and heating?
Yeah, actually, air conditioning, good question. Air conditioning would be 5 years. 1 year's on parts and labor, and for 5 years they cover any parts or anything like that.
2 years on plumbing?
Plumbing and electricity, correct?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
So that, and you're welcome. That's an advantage over, you know, sometimes people walk into where we kind of win a lot of customers over. Is you might walk into maybe a home that's for sale, you know, a home that somebody's already lived in. And maybe it's got the granite things, and some people kind of fall in love with the finishes, but you have to remember in those circumstances, there could be a roof that needs to be replaced in 2 years or something like that. So that's the nice thing. Some of our homes don't have the granite, but it's not as expensive as you think if that was something that was important to you. Has anybody ever owned a home in here? No? Okay. Is anybody a former military? Okay, so we have several programs that still work for you. I was just curious in case you had any questions on the VA loans or anything like that.
All right.
You ready?
Yep.
All right, I went a little longer than I
Put
wanted.
them in your hand.
Thank
Put
you.
them in your hand. At this time, Reggina's gonna come up. She's gonna bring us through the home buying process a little bit. Give it up for Reggina.
Usually our presentation is about an hour long, and the slides are usually like 10. So this is just a summary. We're really just focusing on the benefits of new home builds. So I just want to thank you again for all coming out, taking time out of your busy Sunday to spend it with us. Like I said, we are Team Blessed. We're also new home pros. I got a plan here.
That's the right one.
So what we're going to go over is the benefits of buying a brand new versus resale, how easy the process is to buy, the do's and don'ts when preparing to buy a home, and we'll tour the model homes. And then also, whoops,
It's working.
we have, We have a loan officer in the back, his name is Alex, who's prepared to take all your applications. Takes a couple of minutes. You don't need any of your documents right now. Basically, just tell him how much you make, what your debt is, and he can tell you how much you can get pre-qualified for, okay? The benefits of buying a brand new build versus resale. The prices are lower. So don't think just because you see a $250,000 home in this community that you're going to be paying more. It's all about the taxes and the HOA fees. You also have to think about what Jeremy also mentioned was your electric bill. So keep that in mind. Like Mike and I own a very large home that we would love to downgrade and get into a brand new bill because our electric bill right now is like $350. Our water bill, because we have a sprinkler system, is like $150, $200 a month in the summer. When we installed our sprinkler system, it was like $500. So you gotta keep in mind when you're dealing with an older home, like it's not as efficient. So there's a big savings there. Jeremy briefly went over their warranty. So the 10 means like the 10-year structural, and then 2 years they have like cosmetic plumbing, their appliances, and the 1 means the 1 year on cosmetics. So if anything goes wrong within that time on those items, you just reach out to what they call the noologists, and they'll set you up with a warranty company to make sure you're taken care of. The biggest difference is incentives. So the incentives, especially with Lennar's like one of the fewer new home builders that offer just about all of your closing costs. It depends upon the community that you're in. So that's less out of pocket for you because closing costs is big. You already know with FHA loans, if you're not familiar, FHA is the most popular loans out there. They finance 96.5%, which means that you have to come to the table with 3.5%. So let's just do it simple math on a $200,000 home. You have to come to the table with $7,000, your own money. In addition to that, when you're dealing with a resale home, because it's so competitive, the owners aren't willing to give up their equity to pay for your closing costs. So now you have to go up in price, and then we have to negotiate that for you guys. At the end of the day, if there's like 4 offers on the table and they see somebody cash that's willing to give them all their equity at $200, they're going to go with them rather than $205 that you offered and you're asking for $7,000 in closing costs. Lennar will pay just about all of it. Depends again on the community. The other thing is you have a brand new home. You don't have to worry about, if the seller lied about there was a leak or there was a previous fire or you're sitting on a sinkhole, none of that. The other thing too is the insurance is usually lower because it's less of a risk. When you're dealing with an older home, insurance companies will raise the price of your insurance premium. You get to pick out your lot. So I know when we first came down here, I had a toddler, and my realtor wanted to show us lots that were on a pond. And she was just like, it's a really great lot. And I was just like, well, I have a 4-year-old that can't swim, so I choose not to get this house, even though I love it. With Lennar, you can choose to, have conservation where you have no backyard neighbors. You can choose to have, a pond if you choose that. When you're dealing with a home that you fall in love with, and it may be in Wesley Chapel, but you work here in, Sun City, you can't take that home. You can't pick your lot. So that's another benefit. And you get to pick your location. Jeremy didn't go over how many communities do you have now, like 40?
Yeah, stretching up north, we're closer to 50.
Like 50 different communities. So if this is too far from where you want to live because you work or your church or your kids' schools are in a different area, that's a really big benefit with Lennar. Some of the other builders, there's not as many communities. So you can look at something here and you can sell wherever. Jeremy is awesome. He always keeps in contact with us. I know that that's one thing that we like about Jeremy. He tells us, hey, we need to fix this before we get to closing. Can you reach out to everybody and make sure we're on the same page? So your location. We already went over it. Energy efficiency, and then less out-of-pocket money up front. So when you're dealing with resales, you're going to come out of pocket about $2,000 because you need minimum, and it's a competitive market. The seller can set how much they're going to require from you for your escrow deposit. let's just say $1,000, just to take the home off the market as your deposit. Then you also need about $400 to $500 for your inspection. And then 2 weeks later, you also need about $400 to $500 on your appraisal. So with Lennar, what's going on? So with Lennar, basically you need your escrow deposit up front. So, depending upon where that house is in the building process, Jeremy has to reach out to his manager to find out what the escrow deposit is. But usually, what is it, Jeremy? Like 1%?
Traditionally, that's a good number, yes.
1% of the sale, so the average home 250, you're talking 2,500. There's also less competition. Like I said, it is a seller's market when it comes to resale. So if you fall in love with a home and somebody comes along and they offer a cash, a cash offer, 90% of the time you're going to lose. But when you're dealing with Lennar, because they have so many home sites and available lots and they're always building something in the process, it's not as competitive. The only competition is there are other new home consultants that are looking at the same lot. So, if you do fall in love with a lot or a home today, talk to Jeremy, get with Alex, go ahead and pull the home off the market. If something happens later on, let's say that finances fall through, you end up moving and you can't close on the house, they won't keep all of your escrow. They usually just keep a portion of it just for administrative fees, or let's say you get a job in Wesley Chapel, well, as long as you're approved, you can just change your lots. There may be a small fee for that, but you can change lots. So that's another benefit, less competition. They also offer a free credit repair service. I don't know if you all know that for FHA, a minimum is a 580. You want to try to raise your score as quickly as possible before you close so that your interest rates are better. But if you're not there, they do offer a free credit repair service. So say for instance, your credit's 570 and you can fix your score within 3-4 months to get to the 580, the 620, the 640 before the home is built. They could put you through a simulator to be like, oh, she's almost there. By the time she fixes her credit and we build a house in like 4 months, she can close. She or he can close. I apologize. So that's something you cannot get when you're dealing with resale homes, because resale homes, they come off the market within a week if it's a really nice home. And they're not willing to wait for you, like, oh, I really like you, so I'll wait for you to fix your credit, and then I'll sell my home in 3-4 months. No, that's not going to happen. And then everything is branding, so you have peace of mind. You don't have to worry about, I tell you this because it's happened to us, we always, as buyers agents for resale homes, for our buyers, we always ask the seller to pay for a warranty program for our buyers. If they don't, then we encourage them. You want to go ahead and pay $500-600 for a warranty program, because I guarantee it's hurricane season. I represented a seller, and I don't know if it was Irma, but it was hurricane season, and a month later, the hurricane had blown shingles off of their roof, and they didn't know that their warranty wasn't in place. My son was supposed to pay for it. So we had to hurry up, pay for it for them, and then we put in a claim if there was a leak in the roof. The water tank can go, your appliances can go. These are very important as well as very expensive repairs. So when you have everything brand new and everything's under warranty, it's peace of mind. So you don't have to worry about the additional cost because, you just empty your bank account to purchase this home. So those are the great benefits about brand new. The process with Lennar is really easy. It's so much easier than doing resale. Because doing resale, you have to worry about, are they going to accept my offer? Is it going to appraise? If I do the inspection, are we going to find out that we're on a sinkhole? You've already put in $500. You're going to get your escrow back on a home like that if you wanted to cancel. But, when you're,
So the process, you meet with your realtor, right? How many of you have worked with a realtor before? All right, one. All right. So listen. Let's talk about this for a minute, right? So really, there's no other purchase that you're going to do in your life more valuable than your home, right? You're not going to spend any money on anything else more valuable than a home, right? If you spend $200,000 on your next home, right, you may spend $300,000 to $400,000 on the next home after that, right? You probably upgrade. So when you go buy a car, you have a salesperson, right? When you go into a court of law, you have someone that represents you. You don't dare go into the court of law by yourself, right? Because you don't know the law. You don't know how to maneuver it, right? Whether you're on the defense side or the prosecuting side. You want an attorney, okay? So when you go into a home purchase process, you want a realtor, okay? You want someone who can navigate you through the entire process from beginning to end. And you know how much we cost you if you're buying a house? Absolutely nothing. Or I'll call it free 99, okay? Absolutely nothing, okay? So you really don't want to walk into a home buying process without having a good qualified realtor from Team Blast Realtors on your side, right? So you gotta plug that? Yeah. Plug that, okay? All right? So, because we take you from beginning to end, all right? No matter what your situation, whether you got $1 million in the bank, or you only got 2 nickels to rub together, we take you from beginning to end, and we connect you with all the right professionals, okay? Because we need title company, right? We need a great salesperson if we're gonna buy a Lennar home, right? Because all salespersons aren't great in Lennar, right? So we've already vetted the ones for you, right? Okay? You need to know the process from beginning to end. You need an overview, right? Where do we start? Where do we end? Who are the people that we need to connect to get the process going? How much money do I need down? Et cetera, et cetera. So we evaluate your needs. We do a one-on-one, so each one of you, we evaluate specifically your needs and make a plan just for you, right? Set up an appointment, home consultation. You pick a home, so we use the MLS sometimes, but in this case, we're talking about new homes. So we have special software to help us navigate through new homes, and we also have Jeremy to help us navigate through new homes, right? He can tell us, you can talk to Jeremy and say, hey, we need a 5-bedroom. Anybody need a 5-bedroom? Very few. You raised me here for everything. We need a 5-bedroom. We need it to be down in Ruskin, or we need it up towards Tampa, or whatever the case may be. And we can pinpoint it with that.
Go back.
All right, we get you pre-qualified with Alex. Where's Alex? Alex is out there on the phone. We get you pre-qualified. Once again, there's plenty of Lennar lenders, okay? But we're going to pick one that we know and we worked with before and they're vetted, right? They're not all the same. You're going to put down your escrow deposit, present on your docs to the lender. Of course, you do a walkthrough, right before you purchase the home, right?
Real quick, Mike.
And close it.
And
Go ahead.
everybody know what an escrow deposit is.
Yeah.
All right, so sometimes we'll throw out a real estate term that you might not understand, and that's all right. So an escrow deposit is basically you telling the builder, the owner, or whoever we're purchasing a home from, that's basically saying, hey, I really want this home, and I want you to take it off the market for me. Here's me putting some skin in the game. This is my deposit. So that's what the escrow deposit is. That's you basically saying, we really want this home, because you can go and pick out any home that you want right now today and say, hey, that's the home we like and we want it. Okay, you want me to take my house off the market? That's worth $200,000 to me. It's precious to me. You want me to take it off the market? I need to know that you're serious about purchasing this. So that's what your deposit is. It's you putting down the money. Now, when you deal with resale, typically it's about $1,000. When you deal with a new home, because they sell so many, it can be a little more than that, somewhere ranging between $2,000 to $5,000, depending on what the situation is.
I have a question. The escrow has nothing to do with your down payment. So like whatever you put in the escrow is separate from your down
So it
payment.
actually does have something to do with your down payment. So when you put down your escrow deposit, so let's say we talk, again, we always use that $200,000 number just because that's typically what new homes start at, around about $200,000. So your escrow deposit or your down payment for a $200,000 house is about $7,000. whatever, if we worked out a deal with your salesperson where we can put down 2,000, then that means now you owe 5,000 for your down payment.
When you
So
close.
whatever you put in your deposit, it comes out of your down payment.
It becomes part of your down payment.
Okay.
All right, as far as getting pre-qualified, here's some basic things. I mean, you fill out an application, usually only takes minutes. And you get an estimate based off your income, credit, and DTI. Everybody know what DTI is?
Yes.
Debt to income ratio, right? Very important, right? Basically, you take your debt, your monthly debt, divide it by your monthly income, you get a number, right? Based on that number, your lender will say you're qualified or you're not qualified, right? If you're qualified, thumbs up. If you're not, then we give you a way to get qualified.
Right. That's one of the great things about working with us. A lot of realtors, loan officers, people that you work with, sometimes if you don't get qualified, they hands off now and they move on to the next client. We don't work that way. So for whatever reason, I always talk to my clients, I sit down and tell them, listen, it's a process. So you may not get qualified the first time, but that's fine. But what you have to understand when we're going through that process and working on getting qualified is basically figuring out what we need to do to get the approval. So once we get that information from the lender, it's going to say, hey, you need to do 1, 2, and 3 things. We're going to make sure that you accomplish those things. Now you're ready to actually purchase, right? So it's not, if you don't never go into a home saying, if I don't get approved for it this time, we're just going to scrap the process. You go into it understanding that there's going to be some things that you have to accomplish. Even where it says up here, call our trusted lenders. Even when we work with a builder like Lennar, they already have a lender in place. But because we worked with several of them before, we know to say, we don't want to work with this lender, we prefer to work with this person. Because we have a relationship, we know what to expect from them, we know what type of work ethic to expect out of them on your behalf. The other good thing about using the realtor that we didn't mention is, we do know that process when you purchase in a home. So we know there's going to be certain things that's going to come up that a lender is going to ask you, and you're going to be like, I don't know what to do. I don't know. We're able to calm you down, say this is how it's going to work, and get that stuff handled for you versus you panicking and thinking that you're going to lose the house.
In other words, we're the problem solver. I mean, just about any problem you could think about it, we've solved it tens and hundreds of times already. So we already know what to do when different problems occur. And that's what we do. There's actually some problems that come up that Jeremy, right, is like out of his realm. You know what I'm saying? As a Lennar sales agent, it'd be out of his realm, right? And so we'll talk and we'll end up, giving a solution to the problem, right? Almost everything is in our realm, right? Except when it gets to the legal matters, and then we have to call a lawyer. But we know a good lawyer too, right? All right, here we go. My favorite part, the last slide. Favorite part, right? So the 10 commandments of buying a home, right? So these are the things that you should not be doing. Thou shalt not change job, become self-employed, or quit your job. Okay? Right? Don't do any of these things, right? If you drive truck right now, don't go ahead and say, you know what, I don't want to drive truck no more, I'm become a secretary. Don't do that, okay? That's a totally different field.
If you've been on your job for 30 years plus and you ready to buy your house and retire, you're not retired
Right.
before you close on your house.
Right.
Thou shalt not buy a car, truck, or a van, or you may be living in it.
Right.
Now, does that mean you can't have, it don't mean you can't have a car, but in that process, one of the most important things that you have to understand, a loan officer runs your credit, and what happens is a snapshot of your life at that time, right? So these are the circumstances that they're qualifying you on. If you run your credit for any one of these things, car, anything, it just changed all the circumstances. You run your credit for a car, you get a car, you just change not only your credit but also your DTI. So all the circumstances that the loan officer is pre-approving you on, you just change. So it's like you're not even the same person anymore. You have to redo everything all over again. So this is why we give you this information, because it's things that you want to know when you're going through this process. You want to understand, let me not do this, or at least advise or talk to my realtor so we can talk to the loan officer together to make sure if I am doing something, I'm making the right decision and not jeopardizing my home.
Yes, I mean, I want to stay on cars for just another minute because, I mean, this is one kind of dear to my heart because sometimes we see people that are in such bad shape when it comes to their vehicle, paying $400, $500, $600 on a vehicle, that their debt to income ratio is so high that they can't get them, that we can't help them, or we have to do something drastic to get them into the home. So this is critical with the vehicle, right? One of the things that's out there a lot, that a lot of car dealerships are saying is, well, get ahead and get a car because it's going to improve your credit, all right? It's not a bold-faced lie, but it's a lie. It's not telling the whole truth, okay? Because you're also increasing your debt to income ratio, which is another component to the lending, okay? So, and that's not the way you want to increase your credit either, okay?
The income ratio is the most important.
Correct.
So we live in a social media world right now, and I know it's very easy for you all to see it. Credit is what's popular right now. You see thousands and thousands of credit repair agents. That's because, number one, there's no governing law over a credit repair agent. So just like me, Mike, Jeremy, Alex, we're governed under the license that we have. We can lose our license if we do something wrong. That credit repair agency, there's nobody on top of them. So anybody in here can wake up tomorrow and say, hey, I'm the #1 credit repair agent, and post it on Facebook, Instagram, and somebody can believe you that don't know. They don't know you for that. So you can just look at a credit repair agent and that's not to say that all credit repair agents are bad or getting your credit repaired is a bad thing, but there's no governing power over them that says if you don't do this right, you're going to lose your license. So you have to be very careful with that credit piece.
And how mortgage lenders use credit is way different than how other people, right? It's a totally different standard. In mortgages, they use the higher standards, right? So we really want to listen to the lender, right, the one lending the money, right, as far as where our credit needs to be, right? Not some credit repair person or
I don't know
someone
how
else.
many times I didn't actually have a buyer that we were actually going through the process. They were using a credit repair person and told the lender, well, I'm not going to do that because the credit repair person told me to do this. Well, you got to stop and think, well, who's giving you the loan for the house? So I tell people all the time, I practically run a credit repair business. Basically because all I do is I'm going to take you to the lender and let the lender give you the advice that you need. We skipping that middle piece, right? Why go and pay someone a certain amount per month to get free advice from the person that's going to actually give me the money to purchase the home, right? So that's why we say just go to the lender, let's figure everything out from there.
Absolutely.
I like to point out too that credit repair people, they benefit from increasing your credit little by little. When it comes to your loan officers and your realtors and your new home consultants, we want to fix you as fast as possible so we can get paid. And we'll do it for free.
Right.
So just keep that in mind. Like even if your credit, if you have a credit score at 850, but your debt to income ratio is so jacked because you have like a beautiful car, but you only make $1,500 a month, you can't fix your debt to income. So when they tell you they're going to raise your credit score, they can do that all day. There are doctors and lawyers out here that have bad credit based on their debt to income ratio, but their credit score is like an 850. So just keep that in mind too.
Thou shalt not use credit cards excessively or let current accounts fall behind.
So credit cards, again, you're changing that picture that we talked about. And I never want someone to feel like, all right, if I go through buying a house, that means I'm so restricted, I can't live. You can live, but excessively. You don't want to max out a credit card. I get you. You don't want to max out a credit card. You don't want to just continue to use your credit card. You really don't want to use your credit card if you don't have to. That's one of those things you want to use the least possible because it can change that debt to income ratio when you're using it too much.
Right. This includes, listen, don't, right? Remember Keith had a client one time that she didn't buy furniture, right? Right. So she about to close on the house, right? And so she didn't buy the furniture, but she went to the furniture store and got the line of credit ready open the line of credit, so that when the house closes, she
House
can buy the house, right?
Now, this is all after the conversation of don't run your credit, don't get any credit cards. But what happened was, she went in and the sales consultant said, well, listen, you don't have to buy furniture today, but we have this great credit card with a 0% interest rate that it's gonna go away today if you don't get it today. First of all, we all know that's a lie. If they got a sale today, they'll have another sale tomorrow. And she had to get this great 0 interest credit card, and once she got it, it changed that picture. I mean, she was like right at the threshold. What happened? She was getting down payment assistance. She literally let them click the button to run her credit, and the click of that button lost $7,000. She had the money in her account. But the thing is, isn't that a great feeling that you were able to get down payment assistance to pay for your down payment, and you have money in your account going into your house? Now she had to basically go into the house without that money, that extra cushion. So it was a hard lesson for her to learn. Fortunately enough, she was able to close on the house and get the house that she wanted. But just to know that just a click of a button, you can lose that much money just from being impatient. Because even if you got a credit card, you still was gonna buy furniture after you close on the house. And I actually have seen a person purchase furniture using a credit card before he closed and lost the house and had the furniture. So that's absolutely the worst feeling. Thou shalt not spend money you have set aside for closing. So again, another thing that's done in that snapshot is your bank statements. So it's not to say that you can't use your money, but you're gonna know what our job is to make sure you know what your cash to close look like. So cash to close is gonna be those two numbers put together when we talk about your down payment and your closing costs, because those are two separate things. So your down payment is actually how much of your house that you're paying for when you get the loan, and the closing cost is the way that the builder, the loan officer, the title companies, that's how they actually get paid to close the loan for you. So that's your closing cost. So we want to make sure that whatever money we have set aside for your cash to close that you need to bring to the closing table when it's time for you to close, that you don't go into that money and spend it, because they're going to continue to ask for your bank statements. They're going to ask for the same bank statement probably 30 times. And you're going to say, Keith, I gave it to them. What are they doing? They're not doing their job. And I'm going to say, just send it to them. It's more important to just send it to them. Don't worry about it. Don't let it stress you out. Because you're able to do something that a lot of people that don't have without a realtor, they don't know what the expectation is. We're able to give you the real expectation that, yeah, they're going to ask for it. And they're going to keep asking for it. And the same person that asked for it yesterday might ask for it again today, and you're going to feel like, well, is she losing? No, she just need to send it somewhere else, and that's just the process. So we just have to set those expectations so you're not thinking that they're not doing their job.
The easiest thing for your statements and all the documents is to create an electronic folder, because you could be at work, so you don't, a lot of older people, we just go and get them from their houses at 9 o'clock at night. We create a folder for them and we send it. But like, you guys are of our generation, you know how to go into your bank account online, download a PDF, create a folder, and send it. So if you're at work and you get that, because time is of the essence. By the way, you can close on a house in 30 days if it's already inventory, so it goes fast. So you can't take time off from work. What are you gonna do? You're gonna lose the house. So make an electronic file and send it to Alex, us, Jeremy, whoever. It's the easiest.
All right. We're going to wrap this up so we can get some grub on. You got a question? Sure.
Should you, I guess for the escrow and for the closing, should you have like 2 separate accounts, one for that, or you should probably money and save
It can all be in one account.
Don't create new things.
That's a good
It's
question.
really better. It's really, so your lifestyle is your lifestyle. And we're not trying to make you feel like you have to change everything just to buy a house. But we know certain things that make it harder to buy a house, or that's going to make it harder on you to get the process moving along. It's always better if you are operating out of one bank account. Ideally, most people don't. most people, for some reason, we all have two bank, I don't even know why I got two bank accounts. But we operate out of two bank accounts for some reason, but it's better if you're working out of one because they don't have to verify funds. Because what happens is the loan officer has to verify your funds, where it's coming from, where it's going, how it got in there. So it's certain ways that they have to be able to see that. If you got multiple accounts, it's harder to verify those things by having to go and switch through different accounts.
By the way, y'all can get a gift from family members, borrow from your 401k, you can get a gift from a family member to supplement like your escrow deposit or your closing costs, whatever.
No mattress money, okay? That 20 G's you got on your mattress, put it in the bank account.
60
Okay.
days, you're good.
60 days, needs to be seasoned,
Right,
right?
season.
So you need to know, the lender needs to know where that money, they would track where that money's coming from. Whether it's coming from a job, if you're getting a gift from a relative, right, they can't just give you
And
cash.
That's something
Right?
that
They gotta give it to you in
something
a check. It has to be traced.
That's something that you should let one of us know first, so we can tell you what you need to do first to make sure that it is seasoned properly. Because, and all seasoning is doing is allowing a lender, if you let a lender look at something, so you never, one of the things I learned that I tell my clients now is you never want to send a lender too much information. Send them what they ask for. Because the last closing that me and Jeremy actually had together, the young lady sent too many banks, not bank statements, but check stubs. The previous check stub that she wasn't supposed to send had less hours on it. So it made the loan officer say, let's verify how many hours you actually worked. Made her go back and get all her check stubs from a whole year. Come to find out, she's been missing work. Now, she's a full-time employee by the job that she's at, and they confirmed that she's a full-time employee, but the fact that she was missing, a lender, whenever they lend you money, they're taking on a risk. So they have to evaluate how great the risk is when they lend you money. If they can see that you're not working, it makes them think, well, are you going to pay this money back? Are you actually going to work? The biggest thing for a loan officer to see is you're not working. So if you can send them as the least amount of documents, send whatever they ask for. Don't send too much, don't send too less. Just only send them what they ask for, because you don't want to cause extra questions.
All right. So last two, don't make large deposits in checking accounts. Abnormal, you know what I mean? Don't get money from a friend or relative and just throw it in there. That's abnormal, okay? If it's your normal deposit, it's cool. Thou shalt not change bank accounts. And lastly, thou shalt not co-sign. Do not co-sign with anybody. Don't co-sign for someone. I don't care who it is. Your grandma, your child. I don't care who it is. No co-sign.
Wife,
No co-sign. When you co-sign, right? When you co-sign, she come to me and say, hey, Mike, can you co-sign for me to buy a vehicle? Right? You know what's going to show up on my credit? My vehicle and his vehicle now. Right? I just put 20,000, 30,000, or whatever the amount of the car was, just put it on my credit. All right? So you don't want to co-sign with anybody. All right?
I have a question. Can we use our credit card for gas? Like, so no excessive use of credit card.
if that's something that's
So.
So what happened is, really that's an individual question. That's not a general question. Can I use my credit card? That's really an individual question, because the way you spend your credit card might be different than the way someone over here does. Right? If that's the normal way you spend it and you constantly pay it, a loan officer might look at that and not even give you any instructions. They'll let you just continue what you're doing. Now, if it's somebody that's already has credit cards maxed out, they probably gonna get instructions: pay it down, don't use it. All right, so the instructions are going to always be to the individual on something like that. It's going to depend on what the loan officer when they run your credit, where your credit at. So most of the time, you're going to probably get one to get your credit card is what get your credit up more than anything. So she asked, do you have to have a credit card? No, you don't have to have a credit card, but they're going to see where your credit score is. And if it's not high enough, what they'll say is add a credit card, because it's probably going to boost your credit up more than anything, because revolving credit helps your credit more than anything other thing.
Same thing.
Credit card, same thing as a line of credit.
Yeah.
Yes,
It
same
is,
thing.
it is a lot of credit.
One of the components of credit is called credit history. And so someone who doesn't have a credit card, they have no credit history, which causes, for a lender, that's a question mark. Because they don't know, well, when I give them credit, when I give them loan and money, I don't know how they're gonna react when they get a loan. Because you don't have a history. So, so you may have to, I don't think
I
don't think I've ever-
have a closed one with somebody that
didn't have a credit card, yeah, I was about to say that. I think.
And I'm not saying that, I don't think you have to have one, because there's other ways to establish a line of credit. There's different ways to have credit. Like, some people have great credit that don't have credit cards, but it's because they have other things in place that's similar to a credit card.
Like a bad card and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get rid of that. No, because I keep having, which is, I'm glad you guys don't want to do credit, because I was like about to sign up, like so much I was about to sign up with a credit company. Because I keep having issues with them where they'll have an agreement, I pay this every time we let them put the late fee with the bank my loan. But it's still showing that I haven't paid them anything. I got receipts, y'all got paid me, why I still want my credit on 120 days past later, but I've been paying, like I said. So, like I've had this issue many times and I've stopped paying because I want to just pay them off and be done with it. But I don't know if I pay them off, will they say the true amount that I owe is what's on my account? Or if there'll be more money somewhere in the bank, and I don't really know how to navigate that work.
So what, in a situation like that, what we'll wanna do, always go to the number one person, we'll go to the loan officer, start the process as far as getting the purchasing process started by doing the loan application. You do the loan application, they run your credit. Sometimes, I've seen where somebody in your same situation seen where that wasn't even on their credit no more.
Okay.
So you got to wait to see what the loan officer sees. Once they see it, then they can instruct and say, we need to do this, this, and this, and we'll send you to a credit repair person versus you going and just choosing one, someone that can basically help you with what you're going through.
Okay. And I also heard that paying something off of my credit.
It depends.
Because that's the first thing I've ever had with my credit.
It depends.
So if I pay all those things.
So your credit is a balance of positive and negative trade lines. That's how you get your credit, so positive and negative trade lines. So you'll look at, if you pay off a positive trade line and close it out, you just lost it. Now you still, whatever you, hospital bills, whatever bad credit you have, is still over there weighing down your credit. So you got to think about your credit as the score ultimately comes from positive and negative trade lines. So the more positive trade lines you add, the better it's going to outweigh the negative to help your credit score. And with the bad credit, you want to absolutely get rid of them. So that's why they tell you to pay it off, ask them to delete it. If they delete it, if you pay it off and they don't delete it, it just reset the 7 years, start that clock over, and now it's just weighing a little bit heavier. So if you get it, you ask them to delete it off your credit. If you do pay something off, then it's gone. Now your positive is weighing a little heavier, so now your credit score is going up. That's ultimately how credit repair companies get your credit.
Is it a hard pull?
When you buy a house, it is a hard pull. So that's one of the biggest fears people have is, in order to get the house, I got to get my credit pulled. That's what it's done for. I just tell everybody, that's what it's done for.
Bring it from experience and show you.
It just shows.
So to answer that question, no, they really can't, because the way when you purchase a house, they really run it different to get the numbers different. That's why it's really a hard pull. They run the credit a different way to actually get the numbers. That's why sometimes when you see it on Credit Karma, your number is so different. The best thing that you can get from Credit Karma is it shows the trends, whether it's going up or down. That don't necessarily mean that the score is accurate. So you can't really just go and pull it yourself and get it, because it's not really doing the hard scrub to really see what's on it. Now, but with that being said, you want to get the credit pulled by a lender for them to see what's really on there. Otherwise, in your mind, you really don't know what your credit is.
Right.
So some people, like for instance, we were looking to purchase a house. We thought our credit was lower than what it was. We got our credit pulled and we was in the mid-7s. We thought we were in the 5s. Just because at the time we didn't even have credit cards, but we had been paying other stuff off. So I tell everybody this, you know if you got bad credit. You know if you got something and you didn't pay it off. It's not like you that mystery person that's walking around and you know what? I don't know if something actually on there. You know if you put something on there.
The actual website, that's what I thought it was.
It's Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. It's not that it's not accurate, it's that it's accurate for their purposes. When you're buying a house, it's for a different purpose. It's a totally different way to, your credit is going through a different matrix system that's going to generate a different type of number for them on their end. Now, all the numbers might look the same or look similar, but the reason it is 3 credit bureaus is because they all run your credit different in the first place. So when you rent for a house, it still ran a little different. Some people that thought their credit was bad actually got it ran and it was better than what it was and approved for a little while. I mean, I've been in that situation out and closed with people in houses that thought they weren't credit worthy.
Oh, wow.
So it just depends on the person. And I tell everybody this is what you have to understand. If we would say, all right, we're going to take a trip today, we're going to drive to New York, and we're going to go to Manhattan. Who needs a navigation system to get there? I think just about everybody in here will need a navigation system, right? Are y'all going to drive without looking at signs or nothing? But my whole thing is you need some type of directions, right? If we don't run the credit, there's no way we can have any directions. That's the only way to get directions is by the lender running your credit. And it's worth a hard look. Because otherwise you really don't know where you stand.
I would have cleaned up or something.
When you get it ran, first of all, if you worry about, I don't know if I'm going to get approved, that's not what we're working on right now. We're not working on getting approved, we're working on getting a plan to get approved. So that's what you have to think about. All right, I'm just going to get my credit ran, I'm going to get the plan. Once I get the plan, then I can know exactly what I need to do. Otherwise, you're really going into it blindly. If you don't let a lender pull your credit and you continue, I'm going to do this and this, you're really doing it blindly because a lender can tell you, you don't have to do all that stuff. And it can save you money by, you don't have to pay that one all the way down. Pay this down, and that's going to, because they have what's called simulators. So they'll run your credit through a simulator to tell them exactly what you need to do. And the things that you thought you had to pay off, you might not need to pay off.
Will we be able to do that today? And get one?
Absolutely. So this is what we're going to do. So we do have one. So you all know, we do have one lender. We have 7 laptops that we're going to have set up with the link.
Okay.
So he's going to be able to help, and we have 7 other laptops that'll take you to the link for you to put all the information in. It's going to be a little faster for him once he have everything in there. He can basically go through and say, all right, this is where your credit is, this is what you'll need to do in order to move on to the next step. So some people might get approved today, some people might just get their action plan. Again, ultimately, all we're looking for is the plan. So Alex is with Eagle Mortgage. Eagle Mortgage is Lennar's preferred lender. That's who basically you want to go through whenever you're purchasing a home with Lennar, so you can get all the incentives that they provide. So whenever they say they want to give you so much money in closing costs, so much, you might have an interest rate buy down, you might have something special that's going to make your mortgage lower. You want to use Eagle Mortgage because using them, they know Lennar's process. They will get you through it pretty much better than any loan officers can. So it's easier for them. They prefer you use them. That's why they give you the money. It's tied to you using them as well. So Alex basically going to go over some of the programs that they have to offer. That's going to help you be able to get into a home. So Alex.
So I know Jeremy asked him with the VA and I'm with the veteran here, so really the 2 main programs that are going to apply to this group are going to be conventional and FHA. And I'll make it pretty simple to start. Like I said, we can go into more in-depth details according to everybody's situation. But the minimum score for FHA is a 580, okay? And conventional is a 620. In the mortgage industry, we take into account your assets, your income, and your credit. Okay?
Alex, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Is this USDA qualified?
I don't think this
This is not, but we do have Airworth,
Yeah.
Belmont, which is not far from here, Hawks Landing.
Okay, so we have a couple here. We don't do a whole lot of them, but they are available. I actually have one right now that I'm doing. That credit score is a 640 minimum, and it's a 0% down program as well. So
what that means, right? Free,
Yeah.
free. You just put your, deposit down and get it back at closing. Free.
So, what was it? Yeah, so credit, income, and assets. We take your credit score, but we also take what your monthly obligations are. So what you have in your credit card, you have a car payment, we take all those debts and we combine them into one, and we divide that by your income, okay? And that gives you your debt to income ratio, okay? So each of these programs has a max debt to income ratio and a minimum credit score, okay? So as long as you can get the minimum credit score and fall below the debt to income threshold, then you can get an approval for a loan. Since everybody here is first-time home buyer, correct? Okay, so there are other programs available to you for down payment assistance. They're a little more stringent. The guidelines are different for each one, but typically there's a state bond which gives you $7,500 for down payment. Your income restriction, they're going to know them because they're all different, but if your household is 1 to 2 persons, your income cannot exceed $66,000 combined for your household, okay? If it's 3 or more, it jumps up to 76. So if your income is under $76,000 per year, then you would qualify for this program as long as your credit score falls in line. Does that make sense? So the minimum credit score for a bond program is going to be a 640, and the max debt to income ratio is a 45%. So like I said, it can be kind of difficult to get inside that bracket. It's very, very specific. So it really depends on your personal situation. So we also have an in-house down payment assistance program. It's called Eagle Edge. The interest rate is 5.25%. You don't have to be a first-time home buyer. The minimum credit score is actually a 620, and the max income actually shoots up to $100,000. With that, you get a gift. It's a grant. It's free. So the down payment, 3.5% for FHA, they give it to you for free, not repayable, and that's it. The bond program, you do have to pay it back. It's a second mortgage. It's $7,500, like I told you earlier, but it's not due until the first mortgage is paid off or you sell your home. Deferred interest free. Okay. Like I said, we'll have to go in depth on everybody's situation personally, but are there any questions that anybody has? No? Okay. Anything else you guys want me to add? It's going to be one of those things I got to start talking to people, I guess, probably.
No, that's fine. So basically that's the programs that they offer. Again, this is not the only community. So the USDA loan is specific to certain communities that fall within that region that's on the map. The USDA loan is just one of those loans that you don't have to pay a down payment. It's basically 100% financing. One of the things that we always like to do is we say, hey, do we have anybody that's actually ready to see where they are today and want to go ahead and get the process started? So we could probably have you guys start going to the back. We're going to have laptops set up around to go ahead and get you to go ahead and fill that application out. You can fill it out, then we kind of go ahead and get the process started and seeing where everybody is. And again, this is for all the communities that Lennar has to offer. If for whatever reason one of these homes don't fit the criteria where you're at, still can help you out even with a resale.
Yeah, and I want to touch on one more thing too. We actually have an in-house credit repair company called Homebuyers Solutions Group. So, if our scores aren't quite up to that level, it's free to you, free of charge. They'll implement an action plan within the next 24 to 48 hours, and they'll let you know what you have to do money-wise and also time frame to get your score to a qualifying level. So it's a real nice service, so we also offer that. So with Lennar, it's kind of an in-house total package. So we can get you to owning a home. That's the goal.
So we got about 7 laptops and you have...
And I have one back here, yeah, so I can take one person at a time back there. If y'all want to fill out an application up here on one of the computers,
Yeah.
they can go right to my email and I can pre-qualify you that way, so.
we're going to use about, how long do we want to do this before we go over to the model?
I think some can stay here.
Yeah.
Do the application while we do a tour.
Okay.
That way I don't get overwhelmed either.
All right,
Be a
so
lot of numbers flying
let's
around.
just do half of the group. However you want to split up, you want to go ahead and get your application out there, we can go ahead and do your application, and then the other half we'll take down to the model and go from there. Anybody have any questions before we start moving around?
And before we move around, one more thing. Make sure you have any questions.
Do anybody have any questions?
I have a question. Because I was speaking with, I'm sorry, what's your name?
Jeremy.
Speaking with Jeremy, asking how or what you guys look like. Park, Carrollwood area. You guys have any communities out there?
Appreciate it, right?
Example.
Yeah, we have a few, I'm not familiar with the area, but I think even if not, you know, with Team Bless being here, they can answer the question on the area. I can double check it. Lennar, like, we're so big that I kind of stay south of Tampa. They don't let me go past there, but we can double check the map and things like that, but if not, they can help you in other aspects if we're not doing it.
It's always gonna be that's the only area that you trying to be in, we'll be able to fit your needs, if that's the question, sir. We'll be able to find something that'll work for you. So whether it is, we'll first look to see what we have to offer for you for Lennar, that's out that way. If it's anything that's in Tampa, Carrollwood, it's probably not,
Come on down.
not to prejudge anything, but anything that's close to home construction, most of the time, the price is sky. So that's why we kind of did it out here, because they have more affordable homes and just able to get more people in homes out here.
Real quick, before she starts, before you start, we're gonna do a drawing for the, basket.
Sure.
The basket, I know most of you didn't know the basket was just kind of a process of $250 value from Lennar. So I want you to get to win that. And then just so you know, these are like the little clips you want to back of your phone to set them up in case any of you didn't know that you a shirt pen or something. And these are about $10. So grab it, give it to your kid, use it for yourself, whatever you like. And we're gonna, let's shuffle, let me do the shuffling a little bit extra mic so we make sure you didn't handpick this thing. Regina's gonna win.
Still gotta turn it upside down. My name is on all of them.
We're gonna let you correct.
Let me shuffle one more
Sorry,
time. One more time.
You don't believe me, man?
No, I believe this. So we got third party. So hopefully.
You can find mine if you're a bending.
That's smart. That's smart.
Spin him, spin him.
All right, so let's spread them on here.
Oh, God.
Hey, we spread them on here. So you can grab mine. There you go. Like you said, you gotta pick one somewhere. Pick it is. That's what it is. Let's see.
Turn it over, who's name?
Let's see. You announce it.
Support your brand.
There you go. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is James from Tampa, and I'm here at Team Bless Realty Workshop, and it was really informative. Everybody provided great information, and I look forward to spreading the word about Team Bless.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Goodwin. I drove an hour to be here today, and the workshop is very informative. I learned a lot. All my questions got answered. I look forward to working with all the wonderful people and with Lennar.
I'm at the Team Bless Realty Workshop, and I would like to say that it was a lot of experience I learned today, what to not do, what to do, and great job.
Hey y'all, it's Regina with Team Bless Realtors out here at Cypress Creek in Lennar. We just completed one of our new home buyers workshops, and today I'm just going to ask Saint here, one of the people that came through, what is it that you learned at the home buyers workshop? Thank you.
What I learned is the stuff that you need to do and stuff that you don't do that I didn't know before. As far as, you know, if you want a home, eventually you have to find a no car or credit card. You know, like most people don't know, jump from job to job. That was a good one. And if y'all out there, if y'all don't know, I had a good time, a good experience, and they will teach y'all anything that you don't know. You will know once you leave.
Oh, that's excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you for
You're
coming
welcome
out.
so much.
Thank you.